Hello and welcome to Too Ugly for Radio, the show that puts odd in podcast and then ignores the fact that there's two D's in odd because spelling was never my strong suit. My name is Craig and welcome to a very special episode. No, don't update now. I don't care, I'm using this take. Where today I am joined by
Mona
and
Jeff.
most people think that Jeff is short for Jeffrey, but you're just short for a human, aren't you?
That is right, Craig.
Is your name actually Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, eh?
Yeah.
Mark.
R-E-Y, not some crazy E-R-Y.
What about
Jeffrey.
What about G-O-F?
They can just
Yeah.
f*** off.
Shit kicking of my guests aside, today we're going to be talking about Venom, which will be the most recent movie I've ever reviewed by quite a mark, even though it probably came out 2 weeks ago, so calling it recent is not really true. Anyway, what are your guys' original thoughts?
Yeah, it was pretty good. There was tongues.
There
That
was a
was-
lot of tongues.
That was good. I like to rate my movies on the amount of tongue.
There was...
My original thoughts are that I'm not sure it wasn't satire.
Yeah,
Like, it reeked of satire.
totally
and
got that.
I enjoyed that, but I think it thinks it's serious. I don't think it's self-aware. I'm
No, I don't
worried.
think it is.
Yeah.
Going off what you said before, Jeff, about the tongues.
Yes.
There was a lot of tongues in this film, and one really disturbing kiss, where there can only have been, what, a 3-foot tongue involved.
Yeah, like, Frenching that would be an experience.
Yeah, does his tongue not look 3 feet long to you?
I'm just
But-
trying to figure out what is one.
Imagine 3 Subway sandwiches, like I often do.
It's
So
actually
did-
very helpful. I do not think it was that long.
So did
2
Venom,
foot.
did Venom re-enter
2 feet.
into him through the kiss, or was it just contact?
It didn't even seem to go in his mouth, it just sort
Yeah.
of seemed to go all over him.
There's that other time where it was trying really hard to get to the human's mouth.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that was Venom. I think it was one of the other ones. But
They're all the
How
same.
many were there in the end?
Was there... They said they brought back 4.
Yeah, and...
One of
two-
them escaped originally, which was Riot.
Yeah,
Then there was Venom.
yeah, and
2 unnamed ones which died
One of
off
them died.
screen. Both of them died.
did
was it?
You remember they were just like big lumps on the ground in the
Yeah.
cage?
and they weren't moving.
I thought it was only one of them.
No,
I'm
there
pretty
was,
sure it happened twice.
Must have, because we
Yeah.
didn't see the third one.
No, because, yeah, there
was
was-
three.
there were 2 that died.
It's great how amazing our callback is of a film we saw less than
Yeah.
half an hour ago.
There
Should we
was the
start
one-
with the recap
Start at the beginning. That is...
That was a while ago.
I was gonna make a
in Malaysia?
reference to The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music, but I'm not gonna do that. Yeah. The film. So it starts in space.
Yes.
For some reason, I thought it was in the 70s, and I was like, that's a really futuristic-looking rocket for the 70s. I
Is it
don't
because
know.
he was a journalist and you're like, journalism doesn't exist in 2018?
Yeah, there's only modern media, such as podcasts, which are far superior.
This must be a 70s film. Journalistic integrity is gone.
You know what I didn't like about him being a journalist?
He wasn't seem very good at it.
Yeah, it just seemed completely
Yeah.
out of place. Like, they took that idea from Spider-Man 3, which was so awful it cancelled an amazing trilogy of films.
What is it with the Spider-Verse and the main person being a journalist? Peter Parker, oh, look at me, I'm a journalist.
Oh, I just saw Superman!
Eddie Brock,
Sorry.
Eddie Brock, journalist.
Superman's also a journalist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a weird parallel between Spider-Man and Superman, and they both having undercover personalities working at a newspaper.
Is this why I hate them
And,
both?
and now Venom as well.
Yeah, like, originally, in Spider-Man 3, Jeff, I swear to God, if you open that can near the microphone... Fuck you.
Professionalism, guys.
I don't think the show was ever professional. Yeah, in Spider-Man 3, they're like, let's make Eddie Brock a parallel to Peter Parker, so we'll make him a journalist, which they decided to keep in this film for some reason. Which I really hated, because there's even a line of dialogue in the film where...
The film we just saw?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I should probably specify if I'm going to be jumping between films.
Yeah, thanks.
Where Riot, the bad symbiote, says to Venom, you've got a strong host. And like, yeah, because Eddie Brock, played by Tom Hardy, built like a brick shithouse, despite the fact he's a YouTube reporter. Like, how often do you look at like a news reporter and think,
But
yeah, that
did
guy's
they mean-
shredded?
they mean- strong
Mike
as in-
McRoberts.
I was thinking like Patrick Gower.
No, but
Mike McRoberts is a fucking beast.
I took that to mean they meant strong host as in strong in the symbiotic link. Because they needed someone who had a link that worked well. So they were saying the link was strong, not the person.
Yeah, but still,
That's how I
like,
understood that.
Tom Hardy is built like
Yeah.
a Fisher and Paykel
I-
fridge.
I took it
Ah.
I took it as both really. He had a good link because they were a perfect match, and he's also quite tough.
Like, Tom Hardy
More-
also played Bane in the third Batman movie.
Oh, dude.
That guy's fucking
I've seen
massive. Yeah.
Go me.
Did you see that?
Yeah, you should.
I was gonna say that we should watch it sometime, but I guess you
Recap,
already
recap,
have.
recap, recap.
Yeah, we got to the spaceship,
How far did I get to? Oh,
Spaceship.
yeah, the first scene of the film.
and it was the 70s.
I thought it was the 70s for some unknown reason.
The kids were smoking marijuana and listening to their
The
disco.
hippie movement was in full swing. Space flight had
Vietnam.
just been invented.
Vietnam,
Anyway,
maybe.
so that I'll start the recap. So, like,
You might get on less of a tangent than me. Yeah, you
so
do
the
the
plane
recap.
is the plane.
The
The
spaceship.
spaceship is coming into land and it crash lands. Boom, shock horror. They see that there's 4 specimens they need to get off, and one of them is gone,
One escapes, yeah.
and it escapes in a person, does it?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
remember one of the space guys, astronauts,
Yes, one of the astronauts was
was still alive.
But then he wasn't.
Well, no, I think he
Alive,
was alive, but he was kept alive by the symbiote.
No, I see, but then he wasn't when
Yeah, once the symbiote left.
him. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess it didn't bother to heal his injuries when it left.
yeah, and then went to the other
Into the
the
paramedic
paramedic?
who was driving the ambulance.
Yeah.
No,
Then-
the one in the back of the ambulance. Although it did kill the one
No,
driving the ambulance.
Yes.
Not important. Let's
Isn't
be
it
faster
important?
with our recap.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter who was actually driving the ambulance, but it does matter who it went
And then
into.
it cuts to Tom Hardy and Annie, his girlfriend, who seemed very nice. And
Oh,
they,
hold on. I assumed that it wasn't that they were in France when it crash landed because the ambulance was a Renault.
It literally said
Malaysia.
I didn't read that. I'm like, Renault must be in France. France
They were also
ambulance.
speaking English, so just...
They weren't speaking English.
Or weren't they?
They were speaking Malay.
That's
Well, the
right.
subtitles.
No,
No, Jeff's just good at his
But she said,
Asian
but then
I
languages.
just assumed that since it's in Malaysia, they were speaking
But
Malay.
then they said one of the people were alive.
Well, I guess that was when
Yeah,
they
that
were
was in
calling
the
back
U-
to the American company.
Yeah, that was the news report or
Ah.
whatever was going down. I
Those,
don't,
speaking about that first scene, that was the first and, to my knowledge, the only time that film passed the Bechdel test. No, it wasn't the first scene. It was a bit later on when the host goes from the ambulance lady
Yeah.
to the old lady on the street. She says something to her, which I assume was either in Malaysian
Malay.
or just some weird alien language, and then she transfers the symbiote to her, and that's it for women talking to each other in this film.
And they were probably talking about the symbiote, which was male. So.
yeah,
Well, he called himself he, didn't he?
He called himself We.
we.
Ah. Anyway.
So we got up to, what, the second scene now?
Yes. Well,
Yeah, and then we
Jeff so
started talking
rudely
about the
cut me off.
ambulances.
I think...
Mona, continue.
So she's off to be a corrupt lawyer, and he's off to be...
Was she corrupt?
She was defending Drake's company.
Mona,
Maybe she was assigned the
yeah.
case.
I know.
That's my understanding of how lawyers work.
No, she was doing her job. She seemed like a good lawyer too, because Drake's company had gotten away with a lot of shit up until this point.
I mean, she's kind of been a great lawyer. She had confidential emails, like, broken into by her
Which
boyfriend,
is true.
who was a YouTube journalist.
I think we can just skip ahead across everything else.
Oh,
Go to what
also
happened
another
then.
fact, not off
I don't know
off
about
topic,
YouTube.
really.
Yeah.
It's fine.
The-
I'm pretty sure this podcast should just be called
Yeah.
off-topic rants.
The boss, his boss,
The Indian guy?
No,
Eddie's boss.
yeah, he is actually also in the video game Madden, which is American football.
Oh.
It's got a storyline called the Long Shot, and he's in that too.
Thanks for sharing.
So what you're saying is the shared universe?
Yes.
Well,
He
we
was-
know that university has something with video games.
He was an
anyway.
American football coach, and now he's a journalist boss.
Just climbing that corporate ladder.
So Eddie goes to do his fluff piece on Drake. Was his name Drake?
Drake was his last name. I think,
Drake
yeah.
sees something.
Yeah.
I found it extremely weird that, like, he seemed to be making his own YouTube news channel, but he also worked in this massive office building.
It was not clear who he did journalism.
Yeah, I didn't think it was clear that it was YouTube.
I didn't think it was YouTube at all.
Well, it was some knockoff.
It was
brand
a
YouTube
video.
site,
Video
so it
journalist,
didn't have
It was a video journalist. That could be TV for all we know.
We're making real good progress.
So he went to interview him, but just before he went to the interview, he was up in the middle of the night, and he saw Annie's confidential email. So he had a bit of a look at that.
He looked conflicted for all of about 3 seconds before he read that confidential email.
He looked
because his
conflicted. He was
girlfriend
worried she was
died.
going to be awake.
Yeah.
I didn't
he-
take that as
He
conflict.
tried to even try to shush the cat.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Mr. Mr. Belvedere?
Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who didn't miss him? That was sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she was just being mean. The cat seemed to like him when it jumped on the table.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
the cat was looking down at him on the street. I mean, like, hey, I know you.
It's about as affectionate as cats get
True,
from a
true.
distance.
Yeah.
So he uses his newfound information in the interview with Drake, brings up the names of the people he knows are dead.
The people he killed with his experiments.
Yeah, so Eddie's trying to get a rise out of Drake, and the security guards, they escort him out.
Was it me or was Drake just an evil Elon Musk?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
very
yeah,
much so. I was
100%.
thinking that.
Yeah,
Then again, Elon Musk
Yeah.
might be an evil Elon Musk.
Yeah.
We'll just see how he
Remember
takes
how
being
he-
fired from Tesla.
Yeah.
so then Eddie, one of the scientists gets real worried about the human testing that Drake is doing with the symbiotes, and she tracks down Eddie and says, I want to show you what's going on. Does someone else want to take it from here, or should I just keep going?
No, you keep going
Keep
because
going.
you have a good memory. Or at least the best out of the
So
three of us.
Eddie goes in with Dora, which no, you can't call someone Dora and expect the audience to take you seriously. Let's be honest.
Dora the
Well, I mean,
Explorer.
wasn't it
Exactly.
the lady from Parks and Rec anyway?
Yes, it was
So-
the lady from. I believe it was the sister of John Ralphio, who's like, "Boom, I'm pregnant."
Yeah, I don't think anyone was taking that character seriously. I think everyone was taking this film seriously.
I thought she did a good job. She's a good actress.
Oh,
she
she
was
did
just
an
called
amazing job.
Dora. It was
It's
so.
like
Her last name was weird too.
it's like when you see Rowan Atkinson playing any role that's not a comedy. You're just sort of like, he's a funny man.
Exactly. So Dora and Eddie break in, and Eddie goes ahead because there's a security guard that Dora's
She
dealing with.
literally says, "Don't touch anything."
He didn't touch anything. He walked.
Well,
ar-
he did eventually.
Oh,
to open
yeah.
the door, you've got
Sorry.
to like put your hand on
Sorry.
the panel.
He didn't touch anything until he saw his friend,
Maggie.
homeless person.
Maggie.
Homeless lady friend.
Yeah, who had been. What was she connected to the symbiote, or I don't know?
Yeah, she'd been
Yeah.
infected with the
She'd been
symbiote.
infected.
She had
And-
Do you know-
Venom.
Yeah, she had Venom.
Do you know
and-
what I hated about that?
Mm.
It's just that, like, they look at Eddie Brock. He's so relatable. He's a millennial, but also he's tough. Take no bullshit from anyone. But he's a friend to the homeless as well.
Well, because he did that story on the homeless where he exposed homelessness and who was causing it. So he'd done that story. So he'd obviously experienced it. That's how I understood it.
I know. I just feel like
Yeah.
Sony was pushing too hard that he was relatable and a badass.
He was nice. I liked
And
him.
he was dating a lawyer lady.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out, was he
Yeah.
poor or rich?
He was,
She was
poor,
rich.
she was rich because she had that really nice apartment whilst he had that,
And he lost his job.
yeah,
But
not a
remember-
great apartment.
After he did the interview with Drake,
Yeah.
Drake ruined his life. He's like, I lost my job and my apartment. And it's like, you have two apartments. You've got your shitty little apartment.
Well, he got that apartment after he got him and his girlfriend.
You
broke
could have
up.
moved in with his
Fiancé.
girlfriend. They were engaged.
No, I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Him and his fiance broke up, and he moved into that new apartment. That's how I
right.
understood that.
I just assumed he'd kept the
He
apartment.
kept it. Okay, well maybe that's what happened. So he frees his friend Maggie. Unknowingly, there's a parasite in Maggie and that
Oh, yeah.
transfer.
Transfer
And
Venom?
I'm gonna restart, and then you won't
Okay.
have this in the. You can cut this bit out.
Maybe I'll edit it out. Or maybe I'll be too lazy.
Keep it in and
And
repeat
that
it.
transfers into Eddie, and then somehow Eddie just has strength. He doesn't really know what's going on. He escapes.
Mm.
What happens after that?
Oh my god, the lengths they went to show he had
Oh.
super strength.
I remember.
Like the amount of
Someone else wants
fences
to-
or logs he would just plow
I
through.
remember if anyone wants me to keep going.
Oh, how soon after that? How long after that did he go and get into a lobster tank?
Yeah, exactly. He got real
Yeah.
hungry, he tried to eat shit, he got
Yeah.
into a lobster
And he
tank.
was really unhappy that what he ate was dead.
Yeah.
He didn't like that.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, is anyone else hot? And climbs into a lobster tank
Tank.
and starts chowing down on alive lobsters.
So they
Or
sedate
maybe
him.
crayfish.
Did
What's
you
the difference?
Did you feel like the movie was pushing too hard to be funny?
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like, I'm not sure it knew.
like, I felt like I was a good third of the way into the film before I laughed at anything. I think it was the line where Venom calls him a pussy
Yeah,
for
that-
not jumping out a window.
That was perfect.
That was good.
I enjoyed
The
that.
thing is, like, I'm not sure they knew they were making a comedy.
I don't know, because, like, I heard someone
funny,
say
though.
that because Deadpool did so well, Sony's like, let's just make Venom Deadpool. So it's got an M rating, at least in New Zealand anyway.
They were literally in the bar that Deadpool had been in. I'm pretty sure.
All bars are the same on cinema. And yeah, he's just cracking jokes all over the place, which
Yeah.
I don't read a lot of Venom comics, but I don't feel like jokes are really a reoccurring thing for Venom's character.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I've not read a single Venom comic. I don't know if I've actually even seen a Venom comic. I had a Venom mug.
That's right, I've got
Yeah.
that now. It's got spare parts from my stuff lying in it.
It's also got a tongue.
It does.
Isn't that also the handle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Where were we up to, Mona?
Ah, so they sedate him. So he wakes up from the sedation. He's in the MRI machine. Annie's new boyfriend Dan, he's there talking to him, saying
Dan
it's
the
all
man.
good. Dan, yep.
There was that bad special effect they had where every time Venom was getting hurt, they'd rapidly cut between Tom Hardy's face and Venom's face, which didn't make any sense. Because, like, can other people see this, or is this just something that the audience can see through the magic of
No,
cinema?
other people
Yeah.
could see it because later on when she turns the MRI machine on, they see them separate and Venom jump out of Tom Hardy. They all see that.
True.
So other
Yeah.
people could see it.
But then
But you didn't see it happening on his bottom half, like his legs that were sticking out. You didn't
Maybe
see
because he's
Venom,
wearing
Venom
denim.
legs
he's wearing
shaking around.
jeans, and you couldn't get Venom through
I guess
denim.
That was
he just
another-
said through skin. I guess, yeah. I guess that makes sense. But no, Venom's symbiote can
Symbiote.
go through shirts.
Yeah, but do we see him go through a denim shirt?
No, there was no double denim in the film, actually. No fashion mistakes in this film.
Just that effect where you'd keep seeing them rapidly switch between Venom and Tom Hardy. I was like, that means he's going in and out of his skin like once every half a second. It took me out of the experience, ruined the film. 0 out of 10, and I'm done.
And
Thanks for listening. Bye.
What is Venom's true form? Is it him with his teeth and tongue, or is it him as that
Just
sticky mess?
It looked like a giant
I-
slug.
I thought he'd have a different form on his home planet, and that he had to take that form when he
They did say
merged with a human on Earth. That's how.
And
I
what is their home? Like, is it the comet that they
The
were
comet?
found on, or are they just using the comet as like a bus?
I know.
Yeah.
'Cause I thought that they were
Dunno.
implying they were taking the rocket back to the Venom's home planet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna burp on radio. Cool. They're gonna take the rocket back to Venom's planet to bring back an army.
Yeah. That's what they said. But was the planet the
Yeah.
comet? Is the question, or was the comet
No, I think the comet was
a
like a
bus?
spaceship. Yeah, a
Like a
bus.
That was Jeff's term, not
Yeah.
mine.
What's the buses that have been crashing recently? Mitsubishi's something.
There's been a lot
Yeah,
of bus
one
crashes
of those.
lately.
Yeah, a few.
Um,
The New Zealand guys.
There was a truck crash, chemical spill.
Yeah,
That
I know.
happened.
That's real. Something. Sort it out.
a lot of people got caught in that traffic jam, and it's really insensitive
Yeah.
of you.
There were like 300 trucks.
But speaking of like his form, what pissed me off was that I know it's a comic book movie, but it seemed to completely ignore physics. Like whenever Venom bonded with a human, it would like completely rearrange their anatomy. Like Tom Hardy's already like what 6 foot something, and then when he bonds with Venom, he becomes like 7 or 8 feet. Where's that extra height coming from? Is Venom just like a pair of platform shoes?
I would say yeah. I'd say
Yeah.
that he's grazed off the ground, but
And he had longer arms
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, like it seems to elongate and rearrange his limbs. He becomes like twice as wide. Which I'm not editing that out. Mostly because I'm lazy, but mostly because I don't know how to. So
Well,
don't bang the equipment.
for those not following the visual aspect of this podcast, which doesn't exist, Mona just assaulted the table.
With their
Ow.
elbows. But then, like, every time Venom would bite off someone's head, like, whenever Venom's mouth opened, that's where Tom Hardy's head should be. But you could see right down a throat.
It was inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess he can move him up and down in the body. But
Or-
then like, you know when a snake eats something, you get that big lump. So when he moves Tom Hardy up, There's just this big bulge in the neck, and then whoop.
Still, they'd be rearranging his skeleton.
No, I think his body is a hole,
yeah.
and Venom's just around it, and he
Yeah,
can move the
moves
body
them
up and down inside the little...
Like an elevator.
Yeah. I'm with Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with the fact that Sony don't care
Like,
about their animation.
Because symbiotes don't have a skeleton, I'm assuming that much.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're just that sluggy mess. And they can expand and disband.
Disband.
That is a word, but I don't think it's the right word.
De-expand.
De-expand.
I don't know.
Anyway.
You want missed opportunity they had in the film? When they're in the hospital...
Symbiote dick.
Jeff, you can save that for your fan fiction, mate. No, when they're in the hospital and that lady's got the annoying yappy dog, and Mona leans over and she's like, he's going to eat the dog. When he bonded with the dog, I thought, how cool would it be to see like a Venom dog?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really wanted that as well, but no, we just got those silly eyes.
Well, the problem is, like, it was still
Venomized.
like a chihuahua, so it would have been a Venom chihuahua. But they could do what they did with Eddie Brock and just have the chihuahua in the elevator of Venom.
But
Exactly.
the dog looked at the lady. Eddie Brock's,
Annie.
yeah, Annie, that's the
It's
one.
annoying that they're called Eddie and Annie.
But looks at Annie, and then it does go into Annie at some point. We don't see
It does
that.
the weird cloudy eyes
yeah.
thing.
Does Annie willingly take it?
I was just wondering, did Annie know the dog had venom in it?
I think so,
I
because
thought
she
she
looked
did.
at it, and there was like a knowing. Like, when
Yeah.
it did that eye thing, and it's like, oh, yep. Hey, mate.
Annie seemed pretty on board. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if she knew what was happening.
I don't know,
With her.
because that was the first time she'd ever seen Venom, and he was devouring Tom Hardy from the inside, and then it escaped, so she ran after it.
Yeah, and she saw it in the doggo, and then, moments later, she's off saving Tom Hardy.
It bonded with her.
It-
She became Venom,
Yeah.
which was really
A
cool.
very sexy Venom.
Yes, well, skin tight.
Yeah, well, I mean, Venom's pretty sexy. He's like
Yeah.
3 foot wide and just pure muscle.
Did you
despite
see
the
those
fact he's
bloody
made of
shoulders?
tar. I'd bang Venom.
Get
I
that.
should edit that out, because my parents listen to this. Maybe I won't. Hi, Mum and Dad.
How was
So,
that?
yeah,
Avocado?
I've got to bring that up, yeah. Yeah, how was it?
Jeff, why'd I wouldn't bring up your Instagram posts
For guys,
on the podcast?
follow me on Instagram.
Don't follow Jeff on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at TooUglyForRadio. I've put up like 3 posts.
And one of them was about comic fans.
Yeah, one of them was just me saying I haven't put anything up yet. Deal with it. But I
But
think
you
I misspelled something.
Hold
You
on.
misspelled the word Anne.
That's right. It's spelled and.
About symbiote dog and sexy Venom.
Yep. So, we missed the part where... We missed a whole bunch.
I feel like we've jumped
Yeah,
far
we have
ahead.
jumped.
Where did we go?
So, we're back, we were back at the first MRI machine. That's
Yes.
where we were at.
A lot of
Yeah.
And then
MRIs
he
in
went-
this film.
He went home,
So-
and the bodyguards from the Life Foundation were after him.
Not before we got to see a great scene of him just going around the apartment eating chicken out of the rubbish.
Yeah.
No, that was earlier.
No, yeah,
that
it
was
was
the
just a-
first hungry scene.
There's
We've
a
already
lot of
talked about
hungry
that
scenes in this
when
film.
he finished by eating the lobster. Then he ended up in the MRI
Yeah.
machine. Then he went back to his apartment, did the scary face to his neighbour. The guy,
Yeah.
the Venom face. The guys from the Life Foundation came to try and get him, and then Venom again took over the body. But this time they were kind of working together.
And we had that chase scene with
Very
drones.
Did they work
Infiltration.
together, or was it just Venom controlling
How-
Eddie?
Well, they were working together because, Eddie was saying, yeah, do that, or like, oh, how am I going to get around this? And Venom, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, but they probably weren't quite working together. But
I think Eddie just sort of
Eddie just was
submitted.
like, okay, this is what you're good at. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna let you do you and save me.
So,
But how bad an idea were those drones? That they crashed
They
things
were
and
just
explode.
suicide bomber
Yeah.
drones that exploded into blue flame.
Like you can make better use of your drones. How did he get this good business? He's a genius, right? Like
He's Elon
Drake.
Musk.
Yeah, Drake is a genius.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say Elon Musk is a genius.
Oh, alright, calm down, mate.
Yeah, I could make electric cars. Yeah.
Do it. Eyebrows.
Damn.
so,
Didn't say how big.
so Venom wins. Him and Eddie escape, and Eddie's all confused because he thought he had broken legs, but he doesn't. And they have a little bit of a conversation where,
Well, he did have broken legs, but
but now he doesn't because Venom healed
fixed
them.
him, yeah.
So Venom and him have a bit of a conversation where Venom's head separates from the body and spins round in front, which is a bit odd. they have a bit of a conversation, and Venom saying that the rest
Yeah.
of his planet are coming for him, and they're gonna destroy it, but he's gonna help him out in exposing the Life Foundation. So he climbs up the building.
The whole thing, though, with the head coming around to talk to Eddie, I just felt like was lazy storytelling. Like, there's so many scenes in the film where they communicate and Venom doesn't need his head out, but in this film they're like, wouldn't it be cool to see a disembodied head talking to Tom Hardy? But there's a lot of scenes where he's walking down the street, like, talking to himself and just looking completely insane.
Yeah, and no one... Did people react to it?
People were, like,
Yeah.
giving him the weird eye. Like, dude, if you're talking to an alien, don't do it while you're walking down the streets.
And surely you can just think it and he'll know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought
Because
that.
He's
no,
in your brain.
yeah.
He mentions it several
Yeah.
times.
So they could just think his response.
It was just so that they could show you them talking without it just being lots of shots of Tom Hardy
Yeah.
walking down the street looking moody.
And doing voiceovers.
Yeah. A lot of voiceovers in this film.
Yeah.
Shall I keep going?
Yes, please.
Okay, so he
Broken
escapes.
legs.
He takes Venom takes Eddie back to the building where he used to be a journalist, to his boss's office to leave a note with all the evidence about the Life Foundation. As they're leaving, Craig and Jeff's favourite moment happens where
Oh, yeah.
Venom tells Eddie to jump out the window, and Eddie says no, and Venom calls Eddie pussy.
It's the first time I laughed in
Yeah.
the whole film.
It
So
was,
they
it was
head.
good.
It was very funny. So they head down the elevator, and there's lots of people there with guns and bombs and flares, and they try and stop Venom, but they can't.
It was
Um,
stupid that he took the elevator down. Like, you smashed a window to get in. This place is clearly packed with security. Don't take the elevator out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, how much problems did he cause himself taking the lift?
This whole film
Yeah.
was him making dumb decisions.
So then Annie's been following the carnage on the side. We've seen her a couple of times. She catches up to where the carnage is at. Venom's about to eat one of the
Squad
snipers.
guys, yeah.
And he looks at Annie, and then Eddie becomes Eddie again. And Annie takes him to the hospital.
There was a solid action sequence. The part where he's fighting all the
Yeah.
guards. Like, I'd say it was probably the best in the film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
visually the best.
And also the first time he eats someone's head.
Did he eat a head there?
Yeah,
He's about to eat the head.
I'm pretty sure he eats the head right in front of Annie. And then Annie goes, "What are you?"
But actually, what happens to that head? Because when he shrinks down...
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
Does he?
I was saying before.
Yeah. Because does he just have this big belly?
Oh god, when
Because-
Venom goes away, Tom Hardy just looks like he's pregnant. It's just
Yeah.
someone's head.
Because heads are big. You heard it here first. Heads are big.
That is a Too Ugly for Radio exclusive. Heads big. You were saying, Mona.
Oh, so then Annie takes him to the hospital, and we get back to where we were just before, which was the second MRI scene where Venom gets separated from Eddie.
Venom brought to you by MRI machines.
Venom uses the dog, and then he uses Annie to get back to Eddie because Eddie was kidnapped. Finally, the snipers or the bad guys or whatever you want to call them from the Life Foundation got Eddie, took him there, which is when we discovered that Drake. Oh yeah, the other Venom had been slowly travelling its way to Drake. That had been happening.
That's
for-
right, the one that escaped from the space shuttle right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Had just
Yeah.
been latching onto different women and walking. I'm assuming from Malaysia to America.
No, it got
They
on,
went on a plane?
it got on a plane. So it went astronaut, Malaysian ambulance,
Old lady.
paramedic to the old Malaysian lady. She went to the airport and got into
That's
some
right, gone to a child.
white girl. And then because I'm guessing she had a plane ticket because that was going to be a
You
problem.
never saw her appearance, though. It was almost like she was an unaccompanied
No, she
minor.
did.
No, but she had a parent. But
Yeah.
what happened to the parents? I thought that at the time.
Well,
What
maybe
happened
they
to the
killed
Because
parents?
the mum and the daughter walked out of the airport together, and the mum was putting the bags in the taxi, and the daughter
okay.
just walked off. But I'm like, the mum would have noticed and
Yeah.
ran after. That's
I don't know, I
ridiculous.
escaped my parents once. In the mall. They were talking to their friends. I waddled off to Farmers to look at the Pokemon toys.
Did they come after you?
Well, they found me eventually.
Yeah.
They weren't happy with me.
Yeah, I'm sure. So
Craig, this is why you think Digimon are better.
Digimon are better. I will argue this with you, mate. Not now, though. Say that for another episode.
Anyway.
yeah, we discover Eddie's at the Life Foundation. Venom's trying to make his way there through Annie, and discovers that Riot has taken over Drake.
Mm-hmm.
When Riot realizes Eddie hasn't got Venom anymore, he says, "Well, just kill Eddie then. I don't care.
Mm. It's
And
odd. Why didn't he do it himself? He had Riot. He could have just beheaded him like he did to
it was
everyone
odd,
else.
but I guess the security guard really wanted to do it.
Or maybe it wasn't convenient for the plot for Riot to show up at that moment.
No,
Yeah.
because he did show up at that moment.
He showed up
Didn't
later
he?
when
No.
he's like, I'm
Was
going
it?
to launch the rocket.
No, he showed up before then.
Yeah, he showed up in their little chit chat.
When
Oh,
Eddie
yeah, he
was
did
tied
too.
down, yeah.
Yeah.
So Venom saves Eddie.
So does Riot care about the security guard's feelings? It's like, this is really going to make his day. Riot, making people's days
I think they just
since
needed
the 70s.
they needed Venom to get back into Eddie for the next part of the plot, and if Riot killed Eddie, that wouldn't work.
Mm.
So they had to give it to the security guard to kill Eddie because the security guard could fail.
True.
So Venom saves Eddie, gets back inside of him, says, "Nah, Annie, you can't help us anymore. We got to go."
They leave
I've-
her in the woods.
In the last hour, I've completely changed my mind about the human race, and I want to save them.
Oh, that was just so out of
the
character.
whole hour.
Yep.
You've changed my mind, Eddie, but that was actually the hour of time I spent outside of you that has made me change my
Eddie
mind.
showed him nothing good about the planet.
But it was also like he was
Like-
with Eddie, then he separated from Eddie, then he came back from Eddie to Eddie, and he was like, "I've changed my mind
Like-
because of you."
Watching that film, I felt less attached to the human race.
Yeah, like, the only time Venom made any positive comment on Earth was when he got to the top of the tower and there were some pretty lights, and he's like, I like this stuff.
It's not
Lights are
that
pretty.
ugly after all.
And
There was that really
Then-
forced moment where, remember how, right at the beginning, Venom's like, Eddie, I've been on your mind, and you're a loser. But on my planet, I'm also kind of a loser. That's not something Venom would say.
No.
That was another out-of-character
It's-
moment.
who would say that? Anyway,
If I went to an alien planet, I wouldn't say I'm a loser.
yeah.
I guess Venom was saying, now's my chance to be a hero or an anti-hero with Eddie
But in
on
the trailer,
Earth.
they say the world has enough heroes.
An anti-hero then.
It's got hero in the name.
So does heroin. The drug.
Yeah, not the female hero. Why is that the same word?
Just start naming drugs after female professions. Being a hero is a profession. Doesn't pay
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
Must pay better than being a YouTube
It does
journalist.
pay. It does pay well if Tony Stark's funding you.
Tony Stark doesn't need the money.
Yeah, exactly. So he's funding the other people.
Ah, yes.
So, where was I at? Oh, so yeah, Venom is good now. All good. He
Oh,
breaks
yeah.
into the control tower, and Annie gets all the way back there on foot in heels, which is
That's
bloody
right.
impressive.
They left Annie in the forest, and they left that little girl at the airport without her parents.
Oh, I think the little girl at the airport died. They die after the.
Oh, that's sad.
Was it
Well,
after the
I think it's only the
symbiote?
wounded people die because they don't get healed once the symbiote leaves.
Yeah.
But the symbiote's destroying them from the inside
I
out,
think-
eating on their organs and stuff.
Yeah, so if it's in there long enough, it'll do that.
He was only a little girl for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
He was in there for a whole plane ride from Malaysia to San Francisco.
It's not that long.
It's
and
pretty
walking
long.
from
Listen-
the airport to.
Believe me, I have a YouTube channel. I know what I'm talking about.
Because it's like because they're only in there probably for, let's say, a day when they failed, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
that long. And sometimes it's even quicker. Like
I
the
guess it's up to the
first guy,
symbiote if they want to
Isaac,
eat
the
them or
first
not.
guy, and
Yeah.
Isaac, he dies pretty quick.
Well, that's because they weren't a match.
Yeah.
It's like getting an organ transplant.
And then he offs out.
But Venom says, like,
So if
I
they're
can heal you.
Mm.
I'll heal that. And then later on he says, get me food or I'll eat your liver, kind of thing. So
yeah.
I think that Riot was just feeding off those humans and leaving them to die. That's what I thought.
True. I mean, they killed a dog in this film, so I wouldn't put it past them to kill a little girl.
We don't know the dog died either.
Well, it was just violently swiped aside off screen.
When?
Yeah.
Oh, that was when Venom bonded with the dog.
Yeah.
But we never see the dog again.
We don't.
Nah. But we do see another dog.
Do we?
Yeah.
Multiple dogs in this film.
Two dogs in this
Oh
film.
my god, are we saying it shares a cinematic universe with cats and dogs?
Yeah,
or
because there was a
being
cat as
shoplifting
well.
galore?
2 dogs, 1 cat.
That is more pets than your average film. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Did you see in the credits where it said no animals were harmed in the making of this film?
Oh no, I didn't see that. That's hilarious.
I haven't seen that in a lot of films lately, and I'm starting to wonder if Hollywood's just hurting animals.
You heard it here first, guys. Hollywood harming animals since 1947.
Weirdly specific year to start harming animals, Hollywood.
Post World War II, guys.
So, Riot's back at the control tower, like, launch the rocket, and they're like, it's not ready, and he's like, I'll pilot it, and one of the guys gets super sus and is looking up how to stop this rocket from going off, and then
I mean, it's his rocket. He can...
yeah,
Or is there laws to say don't just let anyone go into space, even if they're rich?
Yeah, I'd say there's probably laws and processes that have to be made to launch rockets.
you have to have permits, I reckon.
Well, I'm assuming they'd have the permits to be able to do it because they've done it before.
Yeah, but they were killing
But,
people left and right. I
yeah.
don't think that company was too worried about permits.
Yeah, so that guy tried to stop
And also blowing up drones in the middle of San Fran.
True.
so many drones.
In, like, a densely packed road.
I would not want to be their insurance company.
Probably don't need insurance, they're just rich.
They probably are self-insured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is pretty rich.
They did lose a bunch of money just recently.
You might get in trouble for saying all that. You might figure that out.
What, that Elon Musk has a lot of money?
No, you're just talking a lot about Elon Musk.
I like Elon Musk.
We haven't said anything wrong about Elon Musk, I don't think.
Compare him to a supervillain, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure he's made the same reference
I mean,
himself on his
Why
Twitter.
don't we refer him to Tony Stark as well? Reference him to Tony Stark.
The guy literally sells flamethrowers.
Who?
Elon Musk.
Ah, I want
Why
a
do we
flamethrower,
call it
that
the
sounds
boring
fun.
company?
Because it's a pun.
Because they're not boring?
And they're boring.
Okay.
Anyway.
So you guys know, every time these boys realise they've gone off topic enough, they look back at me and say, anyway.
That's because I don't remember most things, especially where I'm up to.
Good thing you've got me. I recap films for Craig before he records this podcast.
Whatever.
One film, James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah.
I had to tell him what happened.
We're still off topic, guys.
So, that guy tries to stop the launch from happening, and Riot's like, not on my watch, and reveals that he's Riot, and everyone runs away screaming.
That's right, he murders
and
everyone in the
everyone
control
with
tower.
Giant sword hands.
Why did
I
no
thought
one
that
duck?
was cool.
I thought that was really cool.
Why did no one duck?
I'm pretty sure he would have killed them if they ducked.
Well, I mean, at least they survived that a little bit longer. They can be
Did he
like,
actually kill everyone? I thought
Yeah.
it was just the computers.
Remember he turned
No,
his hand into
he
giant sides and he just cut
beheaded
basically the
everyone,
entire
I think.
room in half.
Yeah.
I didn't see any humans in that scene. I just saw the computers go flying.
no, there were
A
people.
lot
They
of
were scattering.
Oh,
There were a
boy.
lot in there.
Also, he set the rocket
That
to
was,
launch.
that was in the trailer as well, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was in the trailer. It looked familiar.
But like he set the rocket to launch within 5 minutes. Like that rocket's pretty far away. I know you're fast, but like give yourself 10, 20 minutes to get over there.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to murder a whole room and make people suspicious. Because in that 5 minutes that you're running over there, surely someone could have hit cancel. Maybe that's why he murdered everyone.
Maybe. So, Riot and after Venom gets there and
Good.
chases Riot down. You guys can talk about the fight scene. I don't want to talk about it. Oh,
I
can I
was
say
just-
one thing?
Mm.
And then Annie turns on the super sound because that's Venom's weakness.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
she's
symbiote.
like, oh, yeah, they're hanging off the
But-
side of a rocket hundreds
Is
of
it-
feet in the air.
is it-
I'll weaken the suit so that they fall to their deaths.
Yeah. Is it just loud noises or is it a frequency?
They said a specific frequency is fatal, but loud noises
Okay, just
and
mess-
fire
mess
they're
with them,
weak to.
Because I took away frequency. That's what I'd heard and latched onto.
I'm pretty sure that's what
Yeah.
loud noises are, frequencies.
Frequencies. Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Like pitch.
Um,
Because the plane also screwed them over. I'm like, that's a
that plane shouldn't have been flying that close to a building.
nah.
But then one of the Riot was on a plane.
Yeah, but he was inside it.
Maybe he was
Like, it's a
in-
lot quieter inside a plane than it
Maybe
is.
he was inside that plane.
I know this guy stood next to an airport today when I went to the warehouse. God, it's loud.
Now they're going to know where we live, Craig.
Next to a warehouse. Joke's on them. I drove to a warehouse. now they can only limit my location down to within driving radius of a warehouse.
Which is
That
anywhere
is-
in New Zealand.
Within driving radius of a warehouse that is
Jeff,
next
you
to
didn't
an
need to
airport.
mention a country, man. Now they've narrowed it down more. I
And-
could have said I
The
drove for
warehouse is a New
days.
Zealand brand.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was the store named the warehouse. It could have been a warehouse on a pier somewhere.
An airport strip?
I don't have a warehouse on an airport.
Well, you were saying next to the airport.
Yeah, on the airport
Gee,
next to
it's
the
really,
pier.
it is actually starting to narrow down now. We're looking for a warehouse near an airport in New
Within
Zealand.
driving distance.
Within driving distance. The driving distance.
Everything in New
Yeah.
Zealand's within driving distance.
Yeah, but
Except for
driving
Stewart
distance.
Island.
But driving distance to a warehouse near an airport.
But that final fight scene, I hated it. Because it was just two big CGI blobs of sludge.
And they were both dark, so it's hard to see them at night as well.
Like, Riot was
And hard to tell
supposedly...
who's whose.
Yeah, Riot was supposedly grey, but when they were, like, mushed up against each other...
I'd call it more of a charcoal than grey.
And there was that weird shot from the trailer where it's like the two giant symbiotes spread out everywhere and the two guys in the middle of the symbiotes punching each other. but you couldn't tell what was what. It was like watching a Transformers film all over again. Speaking of Transformers, check out our last episode, the weird politics behind Transformers. Links in the description. Or it will be if I remember to put it there. My plug's over. What are you saying, Mona?
I said you guys could talk about the fight scene, then I'll carry on the plot from there.
There's probably not really too much to talk about. It was just a bit of a mess. And
Riot had spikes on his back sometimes, and sometimes he didn't.
he could bring them out. And what are those spikes made out of? Are they metal? Do they look metal?
Well, no, it seemed that the symbiotes, sometimes they were a liquid and sometimes they were a solid. They had a weird ability to change their state of mass. Could they become gas?
Probably, maybe.
I say that's likely.
Yeah.
There's an idea for the sequel.
So that's what you want to say about the fight scene?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
And
It's a garbage film, 0 out of 10. Now, actually,
So-
despite all my shit kicking of this film, I enjoyed it, but I thought it was bad.
Yeah, I enjoyed the film. Totally enjoyed it.
It was trying very hard to be a Marvel film, and it clearly wasn't.
Definitely.
yeah, like A for effort.
And Venom was hilarious. Whether I'm still not sure that they meant for him to be hilarious,
I think-
but he was.
The parts that were meant to be funny weren't, and the parts that weren't meant to be were.
So the fact there was a voice in his head, I thought was pretty funny.
That was hard to understand. That's like a hallmark of Tom Hardy's acting, though. He'll always do a voice that you can hardly understand.
Was that Tom Hardy's voice?
Yeah, Tom Hardy voiced both Venom and Eddie Brock.
Well, of course
It'd
he
be weird if he
voiced-
didn't voice Eddie Brock.
That would be
That was...
something to see.
Let's watch that film.
Speaking of like the
Well, let's
bad,
make that film.
how this film was trying to be a bad Marvel movie, it reminded me a lot of the original Ghost Rider film. Did you guys ever see that?
No.
It follows like the
Um,
exact same beats
With Nicolas Cage.
with Nicolas Cage. He was brilliant in the first Ghost Rider film, not so much in the second. But yeah, like a guy gets possessed by something, gives him superpowers. They don't get along. They fight over control of the body, and then eventually they get along and they save the day.
Yeah.
I just summed up Ghost Rider. Now I'm not going to do an episode on it. Nah, I might.
Take that,
We'll
Ghost
see.
Rider and Nicolas Cage.
Take that, Nicolas Cage, you multi-millionaire.
Nicolas Cage, do you remember when you didn't become Superman?
Dude, don't call that Nicolas Cage on my podcast. Isn't a place for you to air your personal grievances, it's a place for me to air mine. Besides, he owns T-Rex skulls, so don't fuck with him.
Sorry, Nicolas Cage. Yeah, cagey beast.
He had to sell that dinosaur skull, though. Apparently the one he owned was stolen. He bought it off the black market.
Oh,
Yeah. It's fine, though. He gave it up. As soon as
Yeah.
he found out it was illegal, he gave it back.
good sort.
Yeah, good on him. Him and his son, Kal-El, who he named after Superman.
Did he actually name his son Kal-El?
Yeah, he's a huge
Oh,
fan of
no.
comics.
Yeah, it probably
Like-
is actually quite sad that he
His
didn't
poor
become
son.
Superman.
That's like how Gwyneth Paltrow named her daughter Apple.
No, I think his son's on board with that. Otherwise he would have changed his name.
What about Jamie Oliver?
Oh, why did he
What is
name
it named?
his kids
Teddy
with
and
those
Biscuits?
weird names?
One of them's Rolly, isn't it?
Oh no, that's worse than
Yeah.
Biscuit. Rolly.
Mona Rowley.
I don't want to have to edit this. It'll be so long.
Get Jess to do it.
Oh,
We'll buy her a coffee.
don't you mean Grace?
You introduced me like, this is Grace. And she's like, no, I'm Jessica. I'm like, nice to meet you.
Hold on, so yeah, we're at the fight scene.
Oh, yeah. So the rocket blows up.
Yeah.
Not quite sure why. Oh, Venom.
Because Venom goes and claws it or
Yeah.
something.
He used the knife that Eddie got stabbed with, the one that was made out of Riot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They seem to have...
When Riot does that, does he lose part of his mass?
There was a lot of times where they were like firing off projectiles. And like, do they get smaller? Like I
He
said,
gained so much projectiles, though. Like,
this film routinely ignored physics. I wasn't surprised when he like grew a sword out of himself, detached it, and didn't get smaller.
but the fact that he could even grow a sword out of himself.
I mean-
and is it really aerated, that sword? So he doesn't lose so much mass?
Is it aerated?
Aerated. Like, so a lot of air
Exposed
in
to
it.
oxygen?
No, a lot of air in it.
Just a hollow
Yeah.
sword.
Oh, it could be like bird bones.
Yeah.
They're mostly air.
But and if it's really sharp, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Like ice. Notoriously full of air.
Rocket blows up. Fire is the
Weakness.
symbiote's weakness.
He has two
So-
weaknesses, sound and fire.
Which are quite common on Earth, so I'm not sure why
Everyone-
they chose Earth.
Everyone's weakness is fire.
Yeah. Salamanders.
It's just like, you don't need to point out your weakness is fire. My weakness is being dismembered, and I don't feel like that needs to be advertised. It's just a rule of thumb. People don't like being dismembered or set on fire.
Symbiote's weakness would not be being dismembered, though.
We never saw one get dismembered.
But he could, like, shoot an arm off and then...
Just
But
grew up
did
there.
they ever reattach the arm?
He could turn his arm into a sword, cut it off, and then grow his hand back.
True.
Because they don't really have arms though. They just choose to have them, don't they?
If you
Yeah.
just keep cutting them up, do you just end up with like a bunch of tiny venoms?
Like worms.
Like flubber. This film is an R-rated flubber.
M-rated flubber.
What's flubber?
Oh my,
my
god, you
gosh.
haven't seen flubber.
Eddie Murphy? Is it Eddie Murphy?
No, it's Robin Williams.
What? Oh no, it is.
Hmm.
Same
soon.
person, really.
Too soon to what, mention films he was in?
Yep.
Oh, have you heard that they're making an Aladdin live action, and for Genie, they're getting Will Smith?
Yeah, I have heard. I hope he doesn't just
and-
play Robin Williams as the genie.
No, like he needs to probably do his own thing, because...
I also hope he doesn't play Will Smith as the genie.
What about Will Smith, a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as the Genie?
I would be happy to see him playing the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
So Venom dies, Riot dies.
He turns himself
Drake
into
dies.
a parachute, like Elastigirl style.
Yes, he does. To save Eddie, because
He loves
In
Eddie so much.
the course of 2 hours, he's completely changed his whole view on humanity and fallen in love with
But
Eddie.
Mona,
Do
they
you think
bonded
that's-
because they're both losers.
Wait, do you think that's because since he attached
was very
himself to Eddie,
successful, though.
he takes on part
Yeah,
of...
he's got a YouTube channel. They only let successful people have YouTube channels.
Maybe Venom, when he attaches to a human, he takes on some of that personality, and Eddie Brock really has an erection for Earth.
I think most humans have a hard-on for Earth. We're pretty fond of it.
That should be a t-shirt.
Except for Drake.
I thought you were going to say, except for Elon Musk, who's got a hard-on for Mars.
Yeah,
If he's going to come at me for anything, it's me saying he's got a hard-on for Mars.
the chocolate bar.
Not a chocolate bar, it's a chocolate bar brand. I won't have you get it away with saying that's a chocolate bar now when I lost my point.
But, like, yeah, he says he's weak to fire, and then, like, he stands under a rocket as it's blasting off. I'm like, if you're weak to fire, that should kill you.
Yeah,
But he routinely goes into that flame multiple times.
it's like me putting on concrete shoes and jumping in the water.
It's only when he's, like, underneath the flame and turns into a parachute that he's finally like, I'm dying. And then, like, 2 minutes later, you find out, A, he didn't die, despite the fact he said he was dying, and B, that he'd just gone and joined back with Eddie.
Not sure how that happened.
No, it's never explained. But that's fine, that's not the biggest problem I have with this film.
And then just to wrap it all up, Eddie and Venom are best buds now. They go for a walk, and Eddie gets to eat the robber from earlier in the film.
And you have your obligatory Stan Lee cameo, who
Yes.
also has a bitch-ass dog.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
also
the
knows
second
that
dog.
Venom is there.
That's right, Stan Lee inexplicably knows.
Yeah, I
He
really
has
did like
Venom.
that. I liked that.
It would be fine if they like established it early in the film that Stan Lee and Eddie Brock were mates, and maybe Eddie told him about Venom.
Nah.
Maybe Stan Lee had a symbiote, and that's how he knew that he had Venom.
Oh, sequel.
Speaking of sequels,
If they get a sequel, I want to see Venom Dog. Stan Lee's symbiote goes into the Venom Dog.
there was an after credit scene.
There was two.
The first
Wait,
one
are they
definitely
speaking
set
of
up.
sequels? Oh, yeah.
The first
Yeah.
one definitely set up a sequel. Why don't you explain, Craig? Because you told me you'd explain in the car.
Yeah, so basically they, like we knew they would, Sony pushed really hard for a sequel, which I don't know if this will get. Like, as far as a non-Marvel superhero film went, it was good, but it wasn't a great movie. So anyway, they have Eddie going to a prison for no apparent reason, and Eddie's like to Venom, this is a me thing, you don't say or do anything, this is really important. It turns out he's there to interview a serial killer.
Ginger dude.
Yeah, and they're like, I think they even make a reference how they're basically copying the scene from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And they go in, and there's Woody Harrelson in the cage with a ridiculous... It's either red wig, or that guy is such a method actor he's given himself like an Annie hair job.
Considering
But-
he's bald in like most films.
It wasn't a good-looking hairdo. Like,
No, but he looked like the guy, the villain, from Megamind.
he looked like Raggedy Ann. And then
He looks like a guy that went to my high school, actually.
Do you want to name drop them, Jeff?
William.
You... Paul, I'm sorry that Jeff's such a dick, William. But, yeah, so then they do what I knew they were going to do, which is they really forcefully and cringefully name the cameo they were making. And Woody Harrelson's like, there's gonna be carnage. Which is obviously the character he becomes in the next film. And they
Don't
even...
say obviously, please explain.
Yeah,
Okay, so in the comics, there's another symbiote called Carnage, who, if I remember correctly, at least in some continuities, is Venom's child. Because they reproduce asexually. He just, like, splits off and is like, hey, I've got a son.
I guess that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
And then...
Why'd they need to go back to the planet then? Couldn't they just all split off? Anyway, Karen.
Well, would you... If you were going to colonize another planet, Mona, would you just start having mad children and colonize the whole planet? Or do you bring a bunch of people from Earth to colonize it?
Am I asexual?
If you want to be.
Then I'd just go have children. It'd be fine. They can all replicate themselves.
Yeah, but maybe they're all clones. Even though that's not how symbiotes work. Also, for some reason, symbiotes' kids all have to murder their parents. So there's a lot of forced conflict between Carnage and Venom.
Right.
How soon after? Like, immediately? Because otherwise that's not very good for the species.
I assume they're born as adults. It could be like those spiders that eat their way out of their parents.
Ooh.
Spiders,
Yeah, spiders are the worst. I'm calling you out, spiders.
take that, spiders. You spidey beast.
But yeah, they even give Woody Harrelson the nickname Red, because Carnage is red.
And, in
Fuck.
case it wasn't clear enough that his nickname was Red, they put a red wig on him.
Yeah.
Why don't they just put him in a fire truck? They're red.
Well, and had him painting with blood. It was like, oh my god.
And it said welcome Eddie. Did Carnage know Eddie was coming?
Yeah, well, how else did they set up an interview?
You could just say,
Yeah.
a reporter's coming to interview you.
Didn't he ask?
I'm sure he would.
Look, that's not the biggest problem with that scene. Anyway, so that's the first post-credit scene.
What the hell is going on with the second one? I do not understand.
I'm so confused.
So, Sony is really capitalizing on the Spider-Man rights they do have. Because they don't have the rights to Spider-Man, well, they kind of do. They're sharing it with Marvel. Hence why Spider-Man wasn't in this film. Even though there's rumours that Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, was going to make a cameo in this. And I think someone even said they saw him on set. But yeah, they obviously decided not to put it in, or that they didn't have the rights to it. Which is bullshit, because Venom's character is just intrinsically tied into Spider-Man. Like, even his design, in like every other form of media, Venom has a big white spider on his chest, which is just like a replica of the spider on Spider-Man's chest.
Yeah. But I guess in this film it wouldn't really make so much sense, because he had no interaction
Because there's no
with spiders or
But the thing is, like,
Peter
even his
Parker.
name Venom is just like a reference
to what
to
spiders
Spider-Man, because he's like,
Spiders.
Venom is made up of the symbiote, which Spider-Man's like, no, this is making me evil, so I'm going to cast it out. So the symbiote hates Spider-Man, and then it goes and joins up with Peter Parker's high school bully, Flash Thompson.
Have. What a dumb name.
He's a kid like at high school bully in the 70s. Of course, he got a dumb name. And yeah, so he hates Peter Parker. He's like, we're poison to both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. We are Venom. And the fact that Sony tried to create a film about Venom without having Spider-Man, it's just the worst. Surprisingly good film, despite the fact it didn't have Spider-Man in it. But
Well, I mean, they're in the wrong place for Spider-Man. Whereas Spider-Man's New York, right?
Queens.
Queens.
they even
What's it about
reference
Which
New York?
is, yeah.
that he was in New York to begin with, and he got kicked out of town or run out of town.
Yeah.
And so now he's in San Francisco.
And they just sort of, was that to throw a bone to the comic book guys?
I think
Sorry.
it was so
To
that
be
they
like,
wouldn't...
hey, don't have a win. She got chased out.
I think it was just so that they wouldn't like have to go, why didn't he run into Spider-Man or the Avengers? Because Sony want to push really hard that this isn't the MCU, but Marvel want to push really hard that it's not.
They put
Hence
him-
there's a title at the beginning that says, in association with Marvel.
But he got chased out in New York, and they're like, okay, where's pretty much the furthest place away from New York? And they're like, San Fran, opposite coast.
My favourite part was when the second opening scene where they're like panning across San Francisco and it says San Francisco, California, and Craig leans next to me going, case you got it confused with that other San Francisco. And I'm like, well, why did they even need to put San Francisco on it? Like, the Golden Gate Bridge is pretty iconic.
if
It
you
was
don't-
clear where that was from.
If you don't know San Francisco from the Golden Gate Bridge, then it doesn't matter to you that it's in San Francisco because you have no idea of geography.
Yeah, and then why doesn't it be San Francisco, California? Like, there's
And-
one famous one and it has a bridge.
And also,
Don't slap the table.
Yeah,
I don't know if
sorry.
the mic's picking it up or
Well,
not.
the very first scene where we see Eddie Brock, he's wearing a Golden State Warriors shirt. For those of you who don't know, that's a basketball team over in America.
For those
If
of you
he's
who like
from-
sports and comic books,
he's
that
from New
massive
York-
overlap of fans.
If he's from New York, why is he supporting the Golden State Warriors? Why not the Knicks?
That's the biggest plot hole.
Tune in for Jeff's spin-off podcast, Sports in Comic Book Movies.
Or the Brooklyn Nets. Nets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you please explain the second after credit scenes, though?
Yeah.
Oh god, I went on quite a tangent there, didn't I?
Yeah.
So
More care more about
Sony is
than
pushing
basketball.
really hard to make Spider-Man movies with what characters they do have the rights to. So they're making an animated Spider-Man film called Into the Spider-Verse, where basically it's just all these different Spider-Man from across the multiverse are being pulled into one universe so they can all fight a bad guy. And so that entire post-credit scene was, I'm assuming, just a scene from the movie that's going to come out, I think, later on this year. But it just seems so out of place. Like, Into the Spider-Verse looks like it's a PG kids film. It's like a cartoon. And they posted on the end of an M15 movie, which has had, like, a lot of decapitation.
A lot of
Yeah.
A
decapitation.
lot of eating heads.
And a lot of
Ah!
tongues.
I've had more thoughts about that. Maybe Venom just
Tongues
is a
or-
very fast, has a very fast metabolism, so the heads just honestly metabolize into his symbiote.
That would make sense
Goodness.
of how he keeps gaining mass and losing
Yeah.
it. But I don't think he
Hold
ate
on.
enough heads to justify how much mass he lost.
Venom must be dry on the inside.
Why do you think that?
Because when Eddie Brock comes out, he's not dripping wet.
He's not.
Well, I mean, he can
Is
be, like...
He's still clothed.
Yeah. Because how gross would that be? Anytime he goes to Venom, full on Venom, and Eddie Brock
Comes out
comes
wet.
out, and he's dripping wet with saliva or slime or whatever it looks like he's covered
You
in.
remember as a
It's-
kid those things you'd get once in a while? It was farty putty, just a little container with like Play-Doh in it. You put your fingers in and it makes farting noises. That's what I imagine Venom feels like.
That's not the hand gesture you're making, though.
What?
I'm lucky that this is an audio medium. I'm not going to describe the hand gesture I'm making for farty putty.
Yeah, no, you go like that.
And on the subject of disturbing hand gestures, we're going to leave that episode there. I've been Craig,
I've been Mona.
And I've been Jeff.
and you've been listening to Too Ugly for Radio. Peace!
More like 3 Ugly for Radio.
Oh, I wanted you guys to join me on the peace.
Do it again.
No, it's over. The moment's
No,
gone.
we'll do it. Peace.
Peace
Bye.
and love.